charges have been dropped in the shooting of a young lady. Young lady was shot in the back because a cop says she made a mistake and thought she was shooting her taser. Sounds familiar? We've been here before, okay? Let's put up a picture of the victim. All charges have been dropped for a former police officer who shot a woman in the back. She was a cop at the time, after allegedly confusing her gun for a taser. The victim's name is Ashley Fountain Hall. That's Miss Hall, all right? She actually survived. This story has a twist, and I don't know if I agree with it. Julia Cruz, let's put her picture up. She's the cop. Julia Cruz was a police officer in a well-to-do suburb in Missouri on April 23rd, 2019, when she was called to a Schnucks grocery store where Ashley Fountain Hall, her victim, and another woman were accused of taking a grocery cart of steaks and seafood without paying. Hall allegedly struck a grocery worker in the face. Store workers held Hall down in the parking lot until police arrived. Cruz, who you have seen, said she intended to deploy her taser to restrain Hall, who is black. Miss Cruz is white. But according to Miss Cruz, she made a mistake and pulled out a service firearm and shot Hall in the back. Cruz did resign after the shooting. It gets deeper. The ex-cop was charged with second-degree assault, which has a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. And Hall spent nearly 3 weeks in the hospital with several organ injuries, including a lacerated stomach, a gunshot wound, fractured ribs, and more. Hall, who was already a stroke survivor, also had to have her spleen removed. She told KSDK in an interview that she was dead upon arriving at the hospital, but emergency personnel, they brought her back, all right? The prosecuting attorney, now watch how the hand in glove fits here. The prosecuting attorney, Wesley Bell's office, said Cruz and Hall agreed to participate in a restorative justice mediation conducted through a video conference. What? Let me show you a picture of the video conference. Restorative justice mediation at work here. The victim and the offender will work together toward a resolution, typically with the help of a facilitator, okay? After the mediation, the victim, Ashley Fountain Hall, agreed to drop all charges, saying they both received closure from the discussion. The city has agreed to pay Hall $2 million. She was never charged with shoplifting. You see what's happening here, right? You see what's happening here. Restorative justice is something I believe in. Wasn't made for this. This is not why we have restorative justice as a dynamic inside of the criminal justice system. What they did is they utilized something that Black Lives Matter and others have pushed for in order to protect one of their own. That's what they did here. But I will allow the attorney to weigh in on this and also give us an idea of how difficult it is to make a mistake to grab your gun when you think you're grabbing your taser.
I mean, we certainly do not want police officers who are trained, who we assume are going to protect and serve, making this kind of mistake. And like you said, this is not an isolated incident. This is an unacceptable mistake. But separate from that, separate from our grave concerns that we should all have about police training and the quickness with which somebody reaches for a weapon, let me tell you, as a defense lawyer, have my clients ever been offered restorative justice? I agree. I'm pushing for that too. We need reform that includes non-carceral solutions to accusations and allegations. But I never get offered restorative justice. And in this case, what do we have? We have a white police officer being given the opportunity of a lifetime to avoid serious felony charges. That's what this is. So on one hand, yes, I do want restorative justice, and I want it available to non-white, non-police individuals who have been accused. That said, I have not been offered it, and I'm not holding my breath.
Let me tell you why I call bull on this, and maybe this is an implied bias thing. I don't know. But I will say this. I looked at the stats, and there's a very small percentage of cops who claim every year that they actually were reaching for their taser, but instead they pulled their gun. Let me tell you why I call bull on that. And many people would disagree, and I'm fine with that. The reason why I call BS on that is because there's not one incident noted on record of a cop thinking they grabbed their gun, but instead grabbed their non-lethal taser. It's only on record when a cop says, I meant to grab my taser, but I grabbed my gun. I don't see if this is a real thing, it should happen both ways, number one. Number two, the taser is on the other side of the body than your gun. No matter what jurisdiction you work for, that is common practice in the United States of America. The taser is usually bright yellow. The taser has a different trigger mechanism. The taser is different in size and weight. The taser, you have to be certified in order to even use it. I don't understand how this continues to be a mistake.